Giants and Warriors, those of you just joining us, I've set over-unders on the calendar for the next time. The Niners, Giants, Warriors, Valkyries will be the first time. Sharks, first time. When they will win a championship next. Over-unders. If I were Vegas, where I would set them. The Warriors, July 2034, and the Giants, November 2032. Those are the over-unders I'm setting right now. And I know that this is, I mean, it can feel a little sobering. Then again, if you do take a deep breath and realize, there's a lot of cities who deal with this constantly, and 40 years go by, and 50 years go by, and generations go by, and they don't get one. And again, you and I are at a generation where we've literally watched 3 of these teams already have dynasties in our lifetimes, so it's like, I don't know. Sometimes I think that that's sort of why I view sports the way I do, and I know people get mad at me for it because sometimes I'm just a little bit too, like, Pollyannish, happy and calm about all of it.
Right.
Maybe that's why. I don't know. My sports itches have been scratched. It doesn't mean I don't want them to happen again.
Exactly.
But
and it doesn't mean it won't itch again because the Giants, it's starting to become a little bit of a mosquito bite. And you kind of want to scratch that thing because it's now been, this year will be 12 years since they got one. And they've won, 0 series since 2014? Or they won 1 series? No, they won a wild card game.
A wild card game.
In 16.
But no series. No series.
I like your Giants line just because baseball can be so fickle and the Giants could get, Logan can still be Logan, and you could get, Roop can be solid. You can add a couple of pitchers and find a closer, and your veteran hitters can be veteran hitters, and you can catch lightning in a bottle, and you can do that thing. The Warrior one is the one to me, and that's why I put 2038, and I'm looking at the Spurs, and if you want to say the end of their dynasty was 2017, because they win the finals in 14, they go playoffs, Western semis, Western finals, lose to the Warriors. And if you want to mark that as the end, because that was Kawhi's last year, basically, then they went playoffs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, nothing, and then now this year.
Yep.
So they went 8 years of it's over. So if you want to think about the Warriors, even if you go back to, 2022, you win the title. And I think a fairer way to do it would be to go back to 2025, where that's really when the dynasty ended. Jimmy played, you were good, Steph got hurt, you might have made it to the conference finals, but you didn't. So if you want to say it ended in 2025 and you want to go 8 years from there, that's 2033.
Yep.
And that would be, if things go right, you'll be where the Spurs are now.
Things have to go perfect. Yeah, and so that's why I set it at 2034. By the way, quick aside on that.
Yep.
This is piece number 4,332 of the Wright Thompson article.
Right.
We haven't talked about it yet, but this is something that a lot of our listeners have said through the years, and it's brought about discussion. And I want to bring to light that in that article, it did say that Steve Kerr is among those who believe that the Warriors win the series against Minnesota if Steph Curry doesn't get hurt.
Right.
He said that, which I found interesting. Because it's not just blind belief, like I'm the coach of the team, of course, but like he analytically, you're up 1-0, he believes, and 1-0 on the road, he believes they win that series if Steph Curry doesn't get hurt.
It's very possible.
Sure.
I thought, and you and I have had this discussion, this debate, and going into the series, I thought that Minnesota would win in 6, and then whatever, the predictions no longer matter when that happens, but I still think it would have been tough to win that series. And then you go up against OKC last year, which was, maybe as good as OKC this year, maybe a little bit not as good, but I don't think that you beat the Thunder last year.
Probably not.
Doesn't matter.
You would have been an underdog.
Absolutely.
A big one.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember back when the Spurs faced the Warriors that year in 2017. I do think that it was pretty even. San Antonio went 61-21 that year, and Kawhi gets hurt in game 1, much like Steph got hurt in game 1, and the rest is history.
Yep. Let's go to Jeff in San Jose. We'll do all the teams. Jeff, hey, thanks for calling. What's up?
first-time caller. Love you guys.
Thanks, man.
I normally call in on Steiny and Guru, but I listen to you guys. I work in an office. I listen to you guys all day. That's pretty much what takes up my afternoons, getting through work. So, I was calling, though, about the Oakland A's, or Sacramento A's, I guess now.
Yeah, or Las Vegas.
I grew up in Oakland, so I'm Warriors, Raiders, A's fan, and I think what they're doing now is kind of what the Giants, and I don't hate the Giants, by the way, but
that's nice of you.
If you look at the A's, like we're first in the division. If you look at like the trades we made, moving Matt Olson, Chapman, all those guys, we got Langoliers. Volte looks really good, and I think that's kind of what we need to do in San Francisco too, right? Like I think it's time for a little bit of a rebuild. But if you look at like, I think the NBA, Spurs, Thunder. Sometimes when you get to the end of a dynasty or end of an era, you got to like trade away some of your pieces and start building. And the A's, we always have sucked. So for a long time, my whole life, we've never won a championship in my lifetime. But I like what I'm seeing there now, and I think that's kind of a model that everyone's doing, right?
Well, and, Jeff, I guess my question would be like, what's your faith with? Sure, the A's, they've got some nice young players. They often do. What's your faith level when this does become something that has a little bit more of, kind of a stamp on the landscape of baseball, and these players are achieving things, and then they're ready to get paid? What's your faith that the A's will then sit in that bucket for 4 or 5 years and try to win a ring?
Yeah, I tell people we've been the farm system for Major League Baseball, right? The Oakland A's. That's what we do. We draft good people or we find good people. I think our ownership sucks ass, right? So it's like, I think going to Vegas and they're going to spend some money. I think we're going to keep some of these guys. We already paid Severino. We paid Soderstrom. We paid even Lawrence Butler, right? Like we're paying people now. And I think that, I think the Oakland A's franchise is going to be a lot better moving. I hate that because I want them here. But at the same time, I think that's the direction we went. We kind of went a full sale on everybody, and then we brought in some good pieces. And I don't know. I'm pretty hopeful. But for the Giants, I don't know. I just don't know if Buster's the guy, to be honest with you. I know there's been a lot of talk about things, but a lot of the moves that have been made just haven't been great. They really haven't. And I want the Giants to be good because for me now, I go to Giants games because I don't have a team here anymore. And I love baseball. Baseball is like my favorite sport. But and I love going to Giants games, but I think there's been a lot of misses on some of those things. And I don't know. I think I look at the Devers trade too, and I think there was a reason Boston got rid of him. Right? I don't know.
No doubt.
I don't know what it is.
There's no doubt. Jeff, thanks so much. Here's the weird thing about what Boston did, and I've seen some of the baseball analysts say this. I don't know if this makes the Giants feel any better, but understand that if anyone comes away with massive amounts of egg on face for the Devers trade, it's the Red Sox. Not because they gave up Devers, because they gave up the 2 guys that they got for Devers, who both now look really, really good.
Right.
None of them are on the Red Sox.
Well, all 3 of the guys, because they also got Jordan Hicks, and I don't believe he's still a Red Sox.
No, and he's done. Right,
but you got 4 players.
Right.
You got a baby who I guess maybe he's in Pawtucket by now.
I don't
who
even
knows?
know where he's at. But
the 2 real pieces, you got rid of both of them.
Harrison might make the All-Star team for the Brewers this year.
Right.
No joke.
And Tibbs will be in the futures game.
Tibbs looks awesome, still AAA, but absolutely tearing it up. So the Red Sox get egg number 1 on the trade because they got nothing out of it. But that doesn't mean that the Giants won't end up with egg on their face as well. As far as his quote, the A's are paying people now. It'll be interesting. Yes, they're starting to break off a little bit here or there. If you do the total payroll tracker. I know there's the active payroll and then the total payroll. Total payroll to me is the one that really tells the biggest story. The A's are not last, but they are 26th out of 30, and they are still below $100 million in terms of their total payroll.
And we went through this yesterday or the day before, and the amount of guys that they have who are arbitration or pre-arb, which means you're a year away, or pre-arb 3, you're 3 years away. The real proof will be in the pudding when these guys who are good come due. And then what do you do, A's? Because now you're going to be either in Vegas or close to Vegas, and now you should be acting like a team that actually cares. And so the A's are in a constant pattern of not only rebuild, but like reload and retool. And whenever you get a guy who gets to be really, really good, Giambi or, the rest of them, it's like, oh, you can't stay. We can't pay you that. And so the Giants aren't that. The Giants are paying, and now you're just hoping the guys you're paying can be good and good enough, long enough to where these youngsters, and we've talked about the farm more and more, where beyond Bryce Eldridge, you've got some guys in a year, 2, 3, 4, 5. And by the way, you'll still have Devers and Adames unless you trade him in 5 years.
I mean, the perfect baseball team is if the Giants and A's would have sex and have a baby.
Whoa!
No, seriously. What's wrong? That's not a bad word.
I mean, it's a little bit Giants and A's, like.
Yeah, they need to have a baby.
They're not like kissing cousins. It's more like Hatfields and McCoy.
Whatever. They need to have a baby. They don't even, you know what I mean? They don't
it's more
live
like
together.
Romeo and Juliet.
Okay.
Which,
that, like,
how did that end?
I mean.
Spoiler alert.
Not well. So I know you're talking, the history of it suggests that they don't want to go on a date with each other. That's not what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is that the A's, historically and currently, have been really good at identifying young talent, at developing young talent, and then they're really bad at keeping it. The Giants, on the other hand, have shown the activity, both historically and with Buster Posey, to be aggressive on the market, to be willing to pay out contracts. But their big problem is the draft and the development and the farm system. I know that they are currently optimistic about what Buster has done over the last year and a half on the farm. But I also know the Giants fan base is going to look at that with a side eye and be like, I'll believe that when I see it. And I think that that's completely fair.
Yeah.
So we'll see if they can turn that around. But if you took the A's draft and development and what the Giants are willing to do with the big league club and the financial power that they have, then you'd have a great baseball team.
Yeah, you would. I mean, that's ultimately the sign of a great team, NBA or MLB, even in the NFL. Like you think about the 49ers right now, if you want to look at the players who are 26 or younger, you've got probably 3 or 4 really bright spots. You look at, Pearsall and Upton Stout and your guy Brock Purdy, and you could look at other players who are young and look to be future really good players. And then do you have any guys who are over 30 who are really good? Well, you got George, and you've got, Trent Williams, and you got Fred Warner, and, Nick Bosa's kind of in between. But the ultimate balance of a roster is a good group of vets, a good group of mid-prime, as we call them, and then another good group of guys who are on the come.
So again, I give the Giants over-under November 2032. I give the Warriors over-under July 2034.